Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have not been here, oh my gosh guys, in so long. I really just needed a mental break, and I want to thank you guys so much for just sticking here with me on my channel and subscribing to my channel even when you saw that I really wasn't uploading. So all of you who are new here, welcome. I am so excited to be filming today. Today's video is going to be a Valentine's Day makeup tutorial, and what better palette to use for a Valentine's Day tutorial than the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. So I am going to be using this palette today for the first time on my channel, and really this is only the second time that I'm using this palette. I used it once before, kind of just playing around a little bit, and I really do like the formulations of these shadows. I think that Urban Decay really stepped it up a notch when it came to their old formulations. I feel like they were a little bit more stiff. These ones were very pigmented, very soft, and very easy to blend. So I'm very excited to be using this in today's tutorial. I wanted to create a very fun, flirty, sultry pink look today, and I feel like that's what we achieved. If you are new to my channel, then welcome. I hope you're here to stay. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell button down below. That way you are notified every single time I upload, as well as follow me on all of my social media. I do list everything down below. That way you're able to kind of keep up with me. With that being said, let's get on into the tutorial. Alright guys, so we are going to get started. First things first, I already washed my face, moisturized, put on my brows, and now I'm going to prime my skin with the Smashbox Primer Water. It hydrates your skin without making you super slippery and oily, and it also helps kind of just blur your pores. So I'm going to spritz this all over the skin. We're going to let that dry. So the foundation I'm going to be using today is the CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir. This is in the shade 725 Buff Beige. It is perfect for somebody who has normal skin, someone who's in between, because it does have a satin finish. I want to say it's not completely matte and it's not dewy, which is perfect for my skin right now. My skin has been a little bit on the drier side during these colder months, but my skin does tend to get a little bit shiny throughout the day, so I like foundation that serves as that in-between for my skin, and I truly think that's what the CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir does. For some reason though, when I do get a little bit low on this foundation, it does have trouble pumping out the product, so I just took the cap off and kind of swirled around the bottom of the pump and just dispense the foundation on the back of my hand, so that way I have plenty to work with. So the primer water has dried down on the skin. Now I'm going to go in with a clean beauty blender, and I am going to apply the foundation to the entire face. I have been struggling with a lot of skin issues over the past few months, so I'm trying my best not to apply my foundation with my fingers. I know that I typically like to do that. Even though I clean my hands, I wash my hands before I film, I'm still trying to apply my foundation and face products just strictly with applicators. As always, don't forget to bring your foundation down onto your jawline and even on your neck to really blend that foundation line to make sure you don't have a harsh line here at your jaw. Alright guys, so we are done with the foundation. I didn't want you guys to stare at my bare face this entire tutorial, so we did apply our foundation and primer first. But now I'm going to head into the eye part of the tutorial, because I really want to be able to clean up any fallout in case any fallout may happen by applying our concealer and powder after we do our eyes. So the eyeshadow palette I'm going to be using for today's tutorial is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. I absolutely love the packaging though. It is so beautiful. It almost looks like it's encased in glass, the way that they designed the front cover, so I think it is stunning. The first brush I'm going to be using today is the Morphe E22 blender brush, and then I'm going to be going into the shade Feels in the palette, which is this one right here. It's a very muted, dusty pink. So to get most of the pigment off of the brush first, to make sure we don't go in with too much of a heavy hand, I'm starting to apply the eyeshadow on the outer corner, bringing it up into the crease, and then I'm starting to sweep it all the way across our crease and into the inner part of our eye here. That way we have the majority of the color out here in our eye, and it has an easy gradient all the way inwards. Next, I'm going to go into my Morphe E17 blender brush, and this is basically the same type of brush that I just used, but it's a little bit smaller, a little bit more tapered, so that way we're able to go into a slightly darker shade and have a very beautiful gradient effect. So the next shade that I'm going to go into is the shade Bing. I'm going to be applying this shade Bing in the outer corner of the crease, a little bit lower than our previous shade, to really create that gradient effect. And I'm using the lightest amount of pressure to make sure that these shadows are blending seamlessly. The more pressure that you use, the more streaky, the more patchy eyeshadows are going to apply. So when you're blending, use the lightest hand. I'm also sweeping this all the way across my crease, but trying to stay as low as I can. So I'm going to go back into our last brush. This was the E22. I'm going to lightly blend out those edges in between where we applied those two shades. I didn't add any additional product on this brush. I'm just taking what was left, which was hardly anything at all, and I'm just blending this out. Now I'm going to go in with my Sigma pencil brush, and I've honestly had this thing for so long, the number has rubbed off on it, but I know for sure it's from Sigma. It's their just basic pencil brush, but you can use any pencil brush that you have on hand. And I'm going to go back into the Bing shade, but I'm going to be applying it on the inner corner. Now really focusing it on that inner crease and then bringing it onto the first part of the lid. Not necessarily the inner corner, because I think I'm still going to put a highlight there, but I just want to add a little bit of darkness on the inner part of the eye. Alright, now I think I'm going to use my fingers to apply the light shade on the center of the lid. I'm going to be going into the shade Bang Bang. It is a very light shimmery pink. Typically, shimmery shadows tend to apply a little bit more intensely using your fingers or wetting the shadow, but today I think I'm just going to use my fingers and apply it to the center of the lid where we didn't have any shadow before. So when I apply this shadow, I'm applying it straight on and packing it right in the center. And then when I feel like I packed on the majority of the shadow, that's when I'm starting to kind of bring my finger back and forth to kind of blend in that shade with the rest of the shadows that we used. So now I think we're going to amplify this look up a little bit more, and I want to take the shade Devilish with a very tiny pencil brush. The pencil brush I'm going to be using is the Morphe E36. So I'm going to be taking that shade Devilish and deepening up this outer corner here. And we're going to take a little bit of that shade, tap off the excess, and bring that on the outer part of our lid ever so slightly. I'm going in with the Morphe E17 blender brush, so it's the second smallest blending brush that we use today, and I'm blending out that shade just a little bit. So now I'm going to be taking the shade Hot Spot, which is the first shade in the palette, and I'm going to be taking a flat shader brush. This is one from Wet n Wild. It's the white and pink brushes that they have at the drugstore, and I'm going to be applying that shade underneath the brow bone. And then I'm going to be taking the same shade on the inner corner, but I'm really going to try and focus it on that inner corner here, outside of where we applied that dark shade, because I want the halo eye to still be there, but I want to bring some brightness on the inner corner so we're not completely closing off our eyes. So I'm applying it on the inner corner here, on the outside of the nose as well, and bringing it up to almost meet the highlighted brow that we just applied. Every single time I apply my brow bone highlight, I always like to go in with my first blending brush that I use to apply our lightest crease shade and kind of just blend out where the lightest crease shade is and where the brow bone highlight is, kind of that in between, to really make it a very seamless gradient effect going up the brow bone. So the concealer I'm going to be using today is the brand new Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Instant Retouch Concealer, and this is in the shade 145. It's a very pale, warm yellow shade, so I'm going to be applying this to the under eyes. And this is also going to serve as us cleaning up any fallout that may have ended up underneath our eyes here. I'm going to bring it kind of on the sides of the nose as well as underneath our eyes. I look crazy right now, but we are going to blend this out with our beauty blender. Now, this is a very brightening. Don't worry, it will get better as the tutorial moves forward. Let me know if you guys wanted to see a full-on review of this Fenty Beauty Concealer. I have the setting powder as well that we're about to use, so just let me know. So now that we highlighted the under eyes, which are crazy bright right now, but don't worry, it is going to tone down just a little bit. I'm going to apply the concealer on the chin as well as the forehead to really balance out that brightened look. Alright, now we are going to go in with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r setting powder, and this is in the shade Butter. And I recently saw a video about tips and tricks that Makeup by Ariel does in his masterclass. And what he does when he sets his concealer is he puts a damp beauty blender in the setting powder, but he first taps off the excess on the back of his hand and then sets the under eye. And the reason why he says he does that is because your under eye is still wet, and if you take a whole bunch of powder and pack it on under there, then that's when it's going to look cakey and dry. So he kind of just taps off the excess on the back of his hand and then uses the lightest amount to just set the under eye, and then he'll go in again to bake the under eye. Right now, my concealer is completely set. You can tell that I use a very thin amount of powder, but it doesn't look cakey at all. I'm actually taking what's on the back of my hand, so I'm not wasting product, and just packing it on the chin. Now I'm going to go in with my bronzer. I did recently pick up the Maybelline City Bronzer in the shade 100. So I'm going to be taking a big fluffy brush. This is my Morphe G7. I have been using this brush, guys, for a very long time on my channel. I love it to apply my bronzer in a very airbrushed way. I use this brush to blend out my cheek products when I feel like they're a little bit too harsh or maybe they're not blending. So I applied that on the cheeks. Now I'm bringing it to the corners of my forehead and really bringing it into that hairline as well to make sure that there's no bare skin that you can see from your foundation into your hairline. And then also bringing your bronzer underneath your jawline. Now I'm going to be taking the Maybelline Fit Me Blush in the shade 45. It's a very dusty mauve pink, and I'm using the e.l.f. blush brush to apply it. So when I apply my blush, I like to apply it on the backs of my cheeks and then bringing it forward. I think a lot of this technique too I learned from my mother, just because I remember growing up, whenever she did put on makeup, she didn't put on makeup a lot, but whenever she did, she looked absolutely beautiful, and blush was one of her favorite things, and she would always apply it on the backs of her cheeks. I always thought she looked incredible, so mature, but in the best way possible. So I don't know if that's why I always love putting blush on the backs of my cheeks, but I just really like the way that it looks, especially for my face shape. But do what works for you. It's all your preference, and see what works best for you and your face shape. We're going in with our highlight. I am going to be using the MAC Extra Diminished Skin Finish in the shade Beaming Blush, and it's broken, so I'm going to try and hold it up for you guys. But I really like this because it is a pink shade with a gold shift. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to be applying that on the cheekbones Bring it up on the temples just a little bit. Trying not to go overboard because I do have some texture on my cheeks. If you do have texture on your cheeks, try not to highlight it, otherwise you're just going to bring it forward. Cupid's bow, as always. Now that we finished our face products, we're going to just finish our under eyes, apply our liner, our lashes, and then do our lips. I am going to go into my Sigma pencil brush that is so old and no longer has the number on it. And I'm going to be using the shade, let's go with Feels, which is the lightest crease shade that we used earlier. And I'm going to be applying that underneath the lash line. And whenever I apply my lower lash line shade, I always like to bring it all the way on the inner corner and blend it all the way to the outside of our eyeshadow where we created that smoky eye to really kind of just make all of our eyeshadow run together. I'm going to be taking my Sigma E15 flat definer brush. Any flat definer brush can do, and I'm going to be going in with the shade Bing, which is that medium pink shade, and run it underneath the lash line as close to our lashes as possible. Next, we're going to take that shade Devilish and do the same thing we did with Bing, because I feel like Bing didn't add enough dimension on the under eyes, so I'm going in with Devilish and applying it as close to the lash line as we can. Now I'm going to be going in with my eyeliner, and I've really been enjoying the e.l.f. liquid liner in Jet Black. This is what it looks like. It's the $2 one, and it has a very old school typical liquid liner brush. So if you're beginning with liquid liners, I don't really recommend this unless if you really want to practice it. If you begin with liquid liners, I would highly recommend the Maybelline Line Stiletto. It has a felt tip applicator, and I loved that product for years. Still do, but I just recently tried out this liquid liner, and I really like how black it is. It does stay in put really well, and it's matte, so I really do like it. Because this is a halo eye, I'm going to try my best to really just kind of line my lash line, and that's it, and try not to do a wing as best as I can, so we'll see how it goes. Now we're going to apply mascara before our lashes, but let me go get it. The mascara that I just recently picked up at Target is the CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara. This is brand new to me. I really wanted to try it out. I heard that it's kind of like that, you know, L'Oreal Paradise, Better Than Sex type of brush. So we are going to apply this to our lashes. The lashes I'm going to be using today, I actually picked up from Target, and I didn't know that they had this brand. These are the Violet Voss lashes called Sexy and I Know It. That's cute. And I'm going to be using my Duo. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm losing everything. Where'd it go? I'm going to be using my Duo Lash Glue, like the old school one with the squeezy tube, and it's in the dark shade. So that way when you apply it and it dries, it doesn't have that like clear iridescent lash band. Now that everything is pretty much complete, we are going to finally do our lips, and I really struggle when it comes to lips because you guys know I love wearing nudes, but I wanted to do a little bit more of like a pinky tone for this look, especially because it's Valentine's Day. So I went to the drugstore and I found a very pretty pink color in the Maybelline SuperStay Matte Ink Line, and this pink is called Inspirer. It is shade 125. So I think I'm going to apply this shade and kind of see how it looks. So let's apply it. So this lip is a little bit more vibrant than I would like. So let's see if we can turn it down just a little bit. So I did tone it down just a little bit by adding a nude, of course, lipstick over top, but the lipstick that I used is the Maybelline Shine lipstick in the shade Baddest Beige, so it's number 050. You know, if it's too much for you, always go with a nude lip. That's usually what I do anyways, but This is a pink lip option for those of you who like and enjoy wearing pinks and do it often, or maybe really wanted to wear pink for Valentine's Day. But alright guys, this is the finished look. I really hope that you enjoyed it, especially for my first tutorial back in what feels like so long. It has been so long, and I really do want to apologize to you guys for that. I really just needed a mental health break, and I just feel so much more rejuvenated, and I'm just ready to start making videos again. I missed you guys so much, and all of your wonderful comments mean the world to me. So thank you for sticking here and being here with me. Thank you so much for being here with me today and for watching this video. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell button down below. That way you're notified every single time I upload. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you all next time. Bye guys.